Welcome back to another week. I am Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, and I'm here with my business partner, Ashley Lazarian.
Hi, everyone.
This week, we are talking about the 5 mistakes that we see buyers make whenever they are relocating to Georgia. And of course, we're here to answer all of your questions that you may have about moving to Georgia.
Yes, we are super excited about that today. I know you and I have been talking a little bit about tonight's topic, so I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, so we are excited to have you join us live. And if you are watching this live, please go ahead and leave us a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. We love to know who we are reaching whenever we do these videos. And of course, if you have a question, go ahead and leave that, and we will make sure that we answer that in today's video. So our very first mistake that we see people make whenever they are moving to Georgia is not reaching out to a real estate agent early. And Ashley, dive into this a little bit more for us. Why is this important?
So, gosh, Sarah, there's so many reasons that it's important, but it's fresh on my mind because literally last weekend we had somebody that reached out on Friday and said, I'm sorry, on Thursday and said, our plane leaves tomorrow. We'll be there by the afternoon, which is Friday. And we'd really like to check out some houses this weekend. And so it was kind of like, oh goodness, we definitely want to make that happen for you. And especially when people are flying in, like we want to make this trip worthwhile. We want to do as much as we can while you are here because your time is valuable. And so connecting with us earlier on, so that way we can kind of talk with you, get a feel for what you're looking for, maybe give you some guidance on areas, kind of just depending on, what are you looking for in a house? What are you looking for in a community, in a neighborhood? So letting us just kind of talk to you, get to know you, your family, we can really help give you some guidance on that. And maybe this is an exploratory trip, right? Like maybe you're not looking to buy right now. Maybe you're just coming to check out those areas. And so you don't really even need to meet with us. We always want to meet, grab a cup of coffee, and at least put a face to the name. But we can always go ahead and put together some GPS points for you so that you're not just driving around blindly, some restaurants, some parks, some schools, things like that, that are going to be a major deal to you when you make a move here.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is to give restaurant recommendations. So we both love to eat, and we know all the great places that people need to head up and really sell them on the community of wherever they're thinking about being. So I think another important thing about people reaching out to us early is that obviously that gives us time to maybe help uncover some off-market properties that they may not know about. It gives us an opportunity to really dig in to make sure that we're giving them all available options as far as like new construction communities. A lot of times new construction homes aren't even listed on the MLS system, so we have access to those. And so they may have an idea of where they want to go and what they want to see. And if we have a chance to have that full kind of buyer consultation, put together that game plan and that strategy to help make it a very, very easy process, that gives us time to make sure that we are uncovering all of those options that they could potentially see whenever they are coming to visit in person.
Yeah, definitely. And, like I said, when people are coming for an exploratory trip, it's a little bit stressful. I don't know about you, but like even when we travel for business, anytime I'm going to a new town, I'm always wondering like, where should I eat? What are the best places to go? So giving us, ample opportunity to make sure that we've planned for you to make the most of your trip is just really important because we want you to get here and love your experience.
So what is the ideal time frame for a buyer to reach out to us? So I'm in California, I'm in Florida, I'm in Texas, and I'm thinking about, or I'm planning, we are moving to Georgia.
Right.
How early should they be doing? Should they be calling us?
Honestly, I don't think there is a too early. Obviously, it just kind of depends on your scenario. So if you know that you're moving here, we just had a gentleman yesterday that I spoke to. He's going to be moving down from New York when he retires. He's actually been a police officer for quite some time, and he's going to be retiring next year. So he's not going to be here for another 9 months or so. However, he went ahead and reached out so that way we can kind of, chat a little bit. They're going to be doing a couple of exploratory trips. One of them is coming up soon. So he said, I just kind of want some direction. So he's 9 months out from buying a home. but we're talking now. So that way we can start to give him some guidance on areas. He thinks he knows where he wants to be here. And hopefully he gets down here and loves that area just as much as he thinks he does watching our videos and doing other research. However, when you get here, I feel like there's other areas that why not explore since you're here? And you may end up finding, you know what? I would be open to some of those areas as well.
Definitely. So if you're just joining us on this live, we are talking about the top 5 mistakes that buyers make when relocating to Georgia. Of course, if you are thinking about making a move to Georgia or just have any questions about buying or selling a home, go ahead and leave that for us in the comments. We will answer that live in this video. And so, Ashley, you brought up a really good point that having, helping clients kind of narrow down their search area. And that is our second mistake that buyers make when relocating to Georgia. And that is having too big of a search area. So oftentimes we talk to clients that are like, yeah, we're moving to Georgia. We don't know where, but we just want to move to Georgia. And it's like, that's great. And, or they'll narrow it down to, we want to be somewhere an hour away from Atlanta.
Right.
Well, there are a ton of houses where you could be, an hour from Atlanta in any different direction. And that's simply just too overwhelming for buyers to, you just have too many choices and too many differences in the areas that you are selecting from. So part of that reaching out to us early is that in that buyer consultation that we have with our clients, and we're learning about your family's goals and where you'd like to shop and what your everyday lifestyle is like, having that conversation with you allows us to say, okay, based on this and based on your desired price point, here are some areas that we think that you should consider. And the great thing about our team is that we make really great videos about all of these areas. So that gives you an opportunity to kind of go preliminarily and get some more information about those areas. And then we always recommend that exploratory trip. So dig in a little bit more about, Ashley, like whenever we have clients that do this, what are they doing during that trip? What does that look like?
So most of them are coming because, I think a lot of people do have a general idea of where they want to be just based on watching our videos, or maybe they have a friend or family member that lives here that has suggested some areas. But so a lot of times that's why we kind of do that call, right? Because I may learn that somebody has 2 kids, so schools are really important, or they're going to be joining a specific football team, so they need to be within a specific radius. Or if you're coming here for a job relocation and you want to be 30 minutes to that job, well, where is that job? And so having that initial conversation kind of helps guide us on, okay, well, these are the areas that we would kind of suggest, because like you mentioned, if you're looking at the entire state of Georgia, that's going to take you quite a few exploratory trips, and it's going to be extremely overwhelming. And so if we can talk and kind of figure out, like, do you want a sense of community? Do you want walkability? Like, what do you want in the area that you're going to live, not just the house? That kind of gives guidance. And so when they come, they literally are just kind of driving around, and I try to give them kind of 3 to 4 points in each city that they're looking at. Maybe a place to grab coffee, a place to grab lunch or dinner, a couple of the local parks to go to. I'm trying to give them a sense of, we live here and this is where we as the locals go. And so, Sarah, you live in Gainesville, so you might be telling them where you and Tom go hang out on Saturday night or go for breakfast on Sunday morning. I take the kids and I go to Stillfire a lot. So I tell them, grab a beer at Stillfire or go over to Swanee Park for the farmer's market on Saturday morning, because I want them to see how we live as locals, because that's what their goal would be when they get here.
Yeah. And I always love it too, whenever we provide clients with kind of getting an idea of what their price point is going to be. And okay, here are some neighborhoods that you can go drive through that's going to put you in that price point. So we actually give you those addresses that you can put into your GPS and kind of help guide that tour of the city to give you that information. And then of course, we are always available while you're in town, helping you out via text message or having a phone call and asking any questions that you may have, guiding you to new construction communities and that sort of thing. So that is always super, super helpful. And, we've had clients that have come here that thought they wanted to be in one city, but then really loved a different area or felt like a much better fit. And so that's something that wouldn't even have been on their radar if they had not done that exploratory trip. despite having watched all the, great information that we put out there. There's just nothing beats driving around in a car and really getting a feel for the area.
Yeah, I will say one of the best things is when you have a client that's come to town and you've kind of given them, an itinerary, so to speak, to follow. And then they text you from dinner and like, oh my God, this place is amazing. And you're
Yes.
just like, I know.
We were right. No. Um, okay. So another mistake that we often see buyers is that they come to us and they're like, we've already got a pre-approval letter. Rocket Mortgage approved us for 500,000. And what's our response to that, Ashley?
Oh my goodness. So Rocket Mortgage, God, don't even get me started on that one. But talking to a lender, first of all, again, I don't think that there is ever too early to talk to a lender, because what if your credit score isn't what you thought that it was? Or what if you don't qualify for what you thought that you did? Talking to a lender, they have so many tools that they can help you with to get your credit up. It may just be something as simple as you need a month to, combat a couple of things that were found on your credit, get those to fall off, and then it bumps your credit up just enough so that you're getting over that next threshold to where your interest isn't as high, or you're not having to put as much money down. There is so many reasons to talk to a lender a year or 2 years ahead of time. If you know that you're going to be purchasing, they can help give you guidance to what you need to do. And that is so, so important, because the worst is when you go to make a purchase and you realize, I'm not where I thought I needed to be, or I'm not where I thought I was. And now that kind of totally ruins your plans. And the other thing with that is, we've had this a lot. Lenders can different, they're different. All of them are different. And so just because you talk to one, I would go ahead and talk to multiple, especially a local lender is somebody that we're always going to recommend, not just because we work with them and have relationships with them, but there's a reason that we have relationships with the lenders we have relationships with. We need to be able to, if something is going wrong, to call them and say, hey, I need you to be on this, and them to react, not call into a 1-800 number and be put in a queue as to, we're sitting at the closing table and please hold for 30 minutes. Like, I need to talk to you now. And unfortunately, with some of the larger banks or people like Rocket Mortgage, I don't have that luxury. Like, I'm put into a queue just like everybody else is.
Yeah, my favorite is on a listing recently, we had an agent who needed to get an updated pre-approval letter for her buyer that they were submitting a contract on. And it was Saturday. And they're like, great, our lender will get that to you on Monday. We were like,
Right.
what, on Monday?
Right.
No, you need to be working with a lender that works when you are out shopping for houses. And so we're always going to make sure that you are paired with like Ashley said, a really, really great trusted local lender that will get you to the closing table. We are putting you with someone that we know without a doubt that we have full confidence in, because trust me, we would not use them and recommend them if we weren't putting you in those great hands. So the next mistake that we see buyers make is not using a trusted agent whenever they are working with a relocation company. So you are likely on our channel and watching because you are thinking about moving. And a lot of time that move is driven by a job that someone in your family is taking. And it's not uncommon to have that job offer a relocation package. And often that is pairing you with a relocation company. And many times these relocation companies are saying, hey, here is a real estate agent, go use them, and they're able to help you. And you might be, but like, wait, we've been watching Ashley and Sarah and they're so great and knowledgeable. We want to use KeyPoint Homes Group to help us buy a house, but now you're paired with this real estate agent. So you just go with that real estate agent. We recently had a great viewer that left a comment on our video and said, hey, you need to get on this relocation company's list. Well, there are many, many, many relocation companies, and we can't be on all of those lists. However, you may not know this, but you as a buyer can tell that relocation company, hey, I already have a great agent that I want to use. I'm going to put them in contact with you, and they are going to be able to get on, fill out any paperwork that they need so that we can then work with them. So that happens, and you have the ability to decide who you want to work with whenever you are using a relocation company.
Yes, definitely. There's just specific paperwork that they require. That way they make sure that they're getting, their I's dotted and T's crossed. But we've never found anything that we couldn't help with or sign off on.
Yeah. So if you are working with a relocation company, a lot of times the person that you are getting paired with is just like some random real estate agent that's just getting assigned you as a lead. And sometimes that could be a great agent, and sometimes that could be a not so great agent. So just know that you always have a choice. Obviously, we would love if we were a great choice for you as a team to work with whenever you are relocating with a relocation company. But just know that you always have that choice, and you can name the agent that you want to work with.
We actually had a client one time that got paired with a relocation company. And like you just mentioned, they just get passed off to an agent that is signed up. And unfortunately, that agent had no idea about the area that the client was moving to. They were in a completely different area of Georgia. And so they were having to drive like an hour to show these people property. And the people were really upset because they just felt like, we're new here. We don't know anything. And they're not helping us at all. They're literally just opening the door and they don't know anything about the area. And so ultimately, they ended up, working with us and we were able to help them. But it is a scary thing if you get paired with an agent that has no idea where they even are showing you property.
Yeah. All right. And then the last mistake that we often see buyers make whenever they are relocating here to Georgia, and that is limiting their search area based on school criteria. So dig into this a little bit more for me, Ashley.
Yeah,
You, you would think that searching out an area based on highly rated schools would be an amazing thing. Like, why would that be a mistake?
This is a big one for me because I'm not just a realtor. I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. I have one in middle school and I have one in elementary school. And I have to say that as a parent, I chose the schools that my children are going to based on, what I see online and hearing other parents and things like that. So where this can go wrong is if you are not familiar with the area and you are solely going online and looking at, well, this school is rated a 10, it must be fantastic. Um, that 10 means that that school tests well. And so the reason that they're getting a 10 is because those students are testing at a high enough level to receive that grade of a 10. That 10 does not reference how well the teachers are, how nice the teachers are, how nice the students are, how caring the student body is. Like it reflects none of that. And so what I've gotten to realize as a parent, but also as a realtor when helping people get here, just because a school is a 10 does not mean it's the perfect fit for you. It might be a 10 because academics is very high in that school and there's a lot of pressure on those students to get really high test scores and really good grades. And so your kid. I don't know your kid. You know your kid. And if your kid is not going to be in the top 3% and they're not going to be, focused on academics day in and day out, that 10 may not be the school for them. You might want to look at an 8 or a 9 that doesn't have as high test scores, but your kid is going to learn. Your kid is going to be, enveloped with caring teachers. Just because a school isn't a top rated doesn't mean that they don't have amazing teachers that are there that are caring for those kids and helping those kids every step of the way. So I definitely think it's one of those things. Do your research. However, also get on some forums that are around here and talk to the parents about what they think of the school. Come here and do a tour of the school. Make sure that you're doing more due diligence than just looking up the school rating online because there's so much more into it.
Yeah, I have to say, as a former teacher and having taught at quite a lot of different schools, I've worked at a really, really highly rated school, and I've worked at a school that, had a score on niche.com of 6 or 7. And I have to say that 6 or 7 school that I worked at was by far the best learning environment and the best most caring school that I've ever worked for. And that was evident day in and day out, and how teachers treated the students and how happy the students were. It was such a drastic difference than that like highly rated school. And so it does differ. And, you hit all the great points of a parent of doing all of those things. So also, we as real estate agents, we can give you great resources to look up this information, and we can tell you what we hear from other people in the community. Obviously, if we have personal experience, we can share that with you as well. But that's why you want to use a really great, trusted local real estate agent, so that they can provide you information and direct you to those resources where you can get that additional information and not solely rely on the scores that you see online or the websites that are given those rankings.
Exactly.
So I think we have a few questions that have popped up here. Ryan, one of our great clients, said that his mom and pops they just did an exploratory trip, and that they love Dawsonville. He said that they need a ranch with a fully finished basement, living space within 15 minutes of shopping in Dawsonville. Done.
Love it.
Yeah.
Dawsonville is a great area. And I know you and I were talking not too long ago about how Dawsonville has just grown so much. And I love the location of it, because just a few minutes north and you're in the North Georgia mountains. And then they have so much shopping there. Like they've gotten so much recently that I feel like they almost have more than we do.
Yes, completely. That also came up in a class the other day. I was in with a bunch of other real estate agents. We were all talking about Dawsonville. So great location. I will have to say, Ryan, you are looking for a very, very sought after house, a ranch on a finished basement with a separate living quarters. Like that is, the cream of the cream. So we will have a fun time helping y'all locate that. Thank you for tuning in and watching us today. We also have a comment from Michael Waller. Thanks for watching. He says he loves our videos. He's relocating next month to Georgia and looking to buy a home. But in the meantime, what do you suggest to stay until purchasing of home is complete? Oh, I think he's trying to say where.
Yeah.
Great question.
So kind of that in between. I think that would be one of the things where it depends on how long you need something. So if you're just the home is about to be complete, then you could do something like a short-term rental, like an Airbnb. That would, probably suffice. Or if you're looking, a full 6 months to a year out, then you might want to get into a little bit longer rental, such as an apartment. I know a lot of people rentals are hard to come by now. And if you're not willing to sign like a full year lease, those 6-month leases are basically null and void when it comes to like a house or a townhome, something like that. So a lot of people that are wanting to do like a 6-month lease are looking at some of the apartments. But I mean, there are some good options for the interim.
Yeah. And I guess, Michael, it depends on if you're just buying a resale home. Let's say that that you're moving here next month. The time to start looking for that home would be now. A typical closing time period from the time that you find a house and get under contract is typically 30 days. We do have amazing lenders that can make that happen much faster if we need to. And so sometimes we occasionally find someone that might be in your situation where maybe they might not have housing for a couple of days. And of course, a hotel would be the best option. But one of the great things, like we mentioned earlier in the video, reaching out to us, sooner rather than later, is to help us plan and strategize for you. So, one thing that Ashley and I love to do, and that is solve a problem. And so if we have someone that needs a short-term rental, not only are we helping you look online to see what options there are, but we are, scouring the phones and our contacts and trying to uncover, some off-market options as well. And so we have been able to successfully, anytime we've needed to help someone come up with some options, we have been able to provide options to serve that need. But most of our clients, we are able to coordinate and work it so that you are not homeless, and that you are able to immediately move into that house without needing temporary housing.
Yes.
Great question. If you are watching us, make sure that you go ahead and leave us a comment. We would love to answer any questions that you have about the Georgia housing market or moving to Georgia, or heck, even if you're moving to a different state and you just have a question, you want some great advice, we are here to give that to you. Ryan left another comment. He said that they have a fully paid off home in Florida, and we are trying to decide if it's worth it to invest in new flooring before we put it up for sale. Great question.
That is a great question. I really think that depends on how bad is your flooring, Ryan? Tell us a little bit more about that. Dive in a little bit deeper. I always feel like any upgrades that you can do to the home, like the flooring, it's always going to get you a return on investment, especially if your home is paid off. It's always going to reap the benefits because it's going to show better to a potential buyer. And it's going to, I don't know about you guys, Sarah, but anytime I show a house, something could be a $500 fix. And I know because I've looked at this 1,000 times and I've seen this same issue. But the buyer is like, oh my gosh, I need a whole new kitchen because the microwave doesn't work. And it's like, no, 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 no. Just redo the microwave. You're fine. It's $500. You don't need a $20,000 kitchen. Just redo the microwave. So I feel like buyers always make a mountain out of a molehill, if you will. So I always think if you have the ability to go ahead and do those floors or whatever it may be, you will get a return on your investment.
Yeah. One of the common problems that we see here is a carpet, carpet in bedrooms may be in great shape, but it may need stretching. Like sometimes it ripples.
Yeah.
And so to a buyer, they think, oh, the floors are terrible. Everything needs to be replaced. And yet the carpets could be in great condition. It just needs to be stretched back out. And so there's great flooring companies that'll come out and do that. It's a couple $100s. And so that is a great benefit. And it takes away kind of like that perceived negative of your house.
Right.
David had a, sorry. David, my wife and I have just placed our home on the market in South Florida, but have started preliminary steps to transition to Georgia. We've reached out to Ashley and she has been a great help. Ashley is a fantastic help. So thank you for reaching out to us, David. We appreciate your business.
David and his wife, Lena, are in Florida right now. So thankfully I just talked to them a little bit ago, to check on them because obviously Florida is kind of in a scary area right now with everything that's going on with the hurricane. So thankfully they're a little bit out of it, but they do have family that's right in the path. So we've got our prayers going out for them and everybody in Florida.
Yeah, I was thinking about an idea for a video is like all the things you would not ever have to worry about if you bought a home in Georgia, and having hurricanes is one of those. You would never have to worry about that hurricane prep. And I saw people in line at Costco, and it's all over the news right now, and the expense of having to go through that and board up your home and prepare your house. Like that's just got to be so nerve-wracking and stressful. I couldn't imagine dealing with that. It's got to be,
because we actually had another client that was going to be taking a trip up this week to do their exploratory trip. And we had been talking last week, and they said, we kind of have to wait and see what's going to happen next week because we're not exactly sure how things are going to go. Obviously, we've seen before where the hurricanes have kind of died off and then gone a different direction. And then some have just, kept their path. And so I talked to them on Monday of this week, and they said, we're going to just kind of hold off for now because we've got to board up. Maybe I think they were going to go stay with some friends just to make sure. But then it started the thought process with them of, they were like, what happens if our home is destroyed? Can we still buy? Where does that leave us? And I thought, dear God, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to talk to a lender about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that would be a huge headache having to deal with insurance claims and getting that house. And if you need the proceeds from that, that's a whole
right. And they have a job coming up here. So it's not like it's just I want to. They're being relocated.
Yeah. Michael had a follow-up question. He asked about temporary housing earlier. He said, yes, he has one in mind, a house in mind that he wants to buy in Lithonia. Just wanted to physically see it, but he'll look into a rental year lease. So a great thing that you may not know, Michael, I don't know if we're already working with you. Obviously, we would love to, but we do virtual tours for clients all the time. And so that is something that our team really specializes in. So you may not be able to physically get up here to see a home, but maybe if it was the right home, you could, maybe make a trip happen. And so a lot of times what that looks like is that we will do a really thorough virtual tour with you so that you're able to see the house, and we're pointing out all the good things and all the bad things and smells and scratches, and treating you like we would if you were our mother that was buying this home, and helping you kind of make a decision to see if this is something that you could be serious about. And so you do have the option of going under contract on that house. We have what we call a due diligence period here in Georgia. And during that time frame of a contract, you can back out of that contract for any reason whatsoever. And so right now, a typical time frame that we're able to negotiate for our buyers is between 5 to 7 days. So The way that looks like for our clients is that they get up here during that due diligence time period, lay eyes on the house to really make sure that this is what they want. We can always terminate the contract if you get in here in person and you're like, yeah, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. But fingers crossed, we've never had that happen yet. And so that could be a really great solution for you. But we would love to work with you, have a conversation with you off of this, and really plan around helping you make Georgia your new home and how we can help serve you and not leave you homeless. Getting into a year lease is not really what you want to do. So we want to try to avoid that, but we'll make sure that we give you all available options so that we can help make this move a success for you. All right, let's see here. Richard said that he's looking to relocate from California to Swanee. That is Ashley. Oh, Ashley, that way. Ashley's Swanee, Johns Creek, or any other city with good public schools. When would be a good time to start looking for a home if I want to move May of next year?
So I would always advise, if you are able to do an exploratory trip before that time, I think that would be fantastic. If not, then we can definitely start to really search. If you're wanting to be here May of next year, then we would probably start looking around like February, March timeframe, because you have to think about a typical closing is around 30 days. It obviously can, take a little bit longer. If you want, we could try and stretch it out, or we can make it happen faster if, you have a job relocation and you need to be here sooner. But an average closing is roughly 30 days. So if we were to find a home that you really like, you could potentially go under contract in April, and that would then have you closing in May, which is kind of like your target time frame. So if we start looking in like the March, April timeframe, that should put you right on target for, when you're trying to be here in May.
Yeah, and then definitely, obviously, reaching out ahead of time. That way we can get you paired with that local lender. As we mentioned at the top of this video, mistakes that we see people make is that often we are able to, for some of our clients, save them a little bit of money by reaching out and connecting them with the lender early. A lot of our clients, sometimes even paying off or paying down or a credit card just by a small amount, can make a huge impact in the credit score that they have and the interest rate that is charged to them. So always sooner the better, and we would love to help strategize that with you.
Yep.
We are having so much fun answering all your questions. So if you're watching this live, make sure you go ahead, leave us a comment with your question. We are happy to answer that if it's questions about moving to Georgia or any questions you may have about buying or selling. Warren says, pardon the interruption. When buying, we asked you to interrupt, Warren. We asked you, you're not interrupting. When buying a new construction home, can you install new carpets if you feel the construction grade on one is subpar? Can that be negotiated? Great question.
So that's double-edged. So if you're talking with a builder and that has not been ordered, then they actually have different grade levels of carpet that you can choose from. If it has already been ordered, a lot of builders will not allow you to make changes on things that have already been ordered. So in that case, no, you would not be able to change it. And a lot of people will say, well, can they just not install it and I'll install my own after closing? Unfortunately, that is a hard no, because in order for the builder to close on the property, they have to have everything in, because they have to have their final CO and have everything, finished for the home, because that last inspection, they have to check all of that off. So that carpet has to go in regardless of if you're like, hey, I'm just going to rip it out, I don't want it. They don't care. They have to install it so that they can get, their final write-off, and that way you can close on the property. So unfortunately, in that situation, you just get ready to rip that carpet out and put whatever you want in. But if you get with them early enough, they do have multiple tiers. And a lot of times, I don't know about you guys, but I have found that if you upgrade the padding, that means so much more than like the actual carpet. Like the pad underneath, the thicker pad, makes you feel like you're walking on clouds. Like it's amazing.
I have a funny story surrounding like just this very topic. So we had some clients, and they bought a new construction house. And so this was a new construction house. And so the builder will always have like their standard features and then the ability to, have upgrades.
Right.
So their standard features were they had vinyl plank flooring in
Okay.
the like main living area hallway. And then in all the bedrooms, that was carpet. And then there was like this little flex space off of the main level, kind of like a dining room, or it could be an office. And so the standard called for carpet in this space. So we show up to do the final walkthrough, and the builder had actually mistakenly, they put in the vinyl plank flooring in that room as well. And
Oh,
so I was like, wow, this is amazing. You get a great upgrade. You didn't have to pay an extra $2,500 for this flooring in this room, and it's so much better than carpet. This is awesome. Well, the buyer wanted carpet,
oh
and
no.
he was insistent on wanting the carpet. And for me, it was hard to understand, like, why would you want carpet?
Right.
It's eventually gonna, this wasn't like a bedroom. Eventually you're gonna have to replace it because it's gonna get dingy and gross.
Right.
And this other flooring is much more durable. Um, but we went back to the builder and we're like, nope, the plans called for carpet. We excited carpet. We need you to put carpet back in here. And they were like, what? You want us to put carpet back
I
in there?
know.
I was like, yep, that's what the buyer wants. That's what you said you were going to do. So the builder went back and put carpet in that room,
Oh
which,
my gracious. I
yeah,
will say though, so a couple of years ago, you know how I am with my dogs. I've always got dogs in and out of the house with the rescue. And my husband and I were like, we're done with carpet. I hate carpet. It stains. I've got 2 kids. Like, Jesus, the only things that have my carpet has known. And so we were like, hardwoods throughout. So we did hardwoods throughout, and we thought, God, we have just really come up in the world. It looks great. It's amazing. Then I got close to hitting 40, and I'm like, my feet hurt so bad with these hardwoods everywhere. Like, I want like the thickest padded carpet on my next
really.
home. Oh my gosh.
I thought you were going to say the dog's nails on the hardwoods. That
That's another thing.
drives me nuts.
It does. It does. So it's funny because there's a lot to be said for carpet.
Yeah, there is definitely. All right, we have another question from Alex. I'm looking to relocate soon. My home for Florida is for sale. Searching for a home in Gwinnett County. He's getting a work promotion. Any chance there's info on Tucker, Snellville, or Lawrenceville? Those are my top three with Little Burn in mind. No kids.
Yeah, those are some great areas. I love Tucker. The downtown little Tucker area is adorable. Snellville is a good one. Lawrenceville, actually, Maitland and I were out in Lawrenceville today doing some things in, I'm not going to lie, I kind of snuck into the Blue Rooster, my favorite restaurant over there, and got a cupcake, but that's beside the point.
Oh. Wait, you're
Lilburn
supposed to
is
have
great
no
too.
sugar.
I got it because it was for the sake of filming. Maitland didn't eat. I was very proud of her. Did feel a little bit mean
But
because I
you
ate
ate
it.
it, so you're not doing no sugar anymore.
Well, I had to film the videos there.
Okay. Well, it was work. It was work. I understand. Okay, I'm with you.
Yes, but Lilburn is also great. So Lilburn kind of like went through a little downturn and then came back up. They've been doing a lot of renovating over there, the downtown area, and then they've been doing a lot of new construction with like townhomes and just kind of revamping it. And I love Lilburn now. It's absolutely adorable. Alex, I would love if you'd reach out to us and kind of let us know where your job is, because then that might help with us giving you a little bit of guidance on which town would be best suited to you. And then obviously you said no kids. What else is there about you that we should know that we could kind of give you some guidance on? Because that would really help us. I don't think you could go wrong with any of those locations, but I do think that if we knew a little bit more, we could give you some guidance.
Yes. And of course, we would love to guide you and actually physically help you buy your home there. We love those areas. We're actually have a video coming up about Lawrenceville. It was recently named one of the top 10 best places for affordability to move in the U.S. The thing about that, though, is there's a lot of traffic in Lawrenceville. So you'll hear that, a lot of feedback as well. Alex gave us some more information. He's looking for nature. He's going to reach out, and he works for Cox Automotive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maitland's watching. She just called you out. She said, what about that cinnamon bun, Ashley?
Okay, that was not for me. Let's be clear. I bought that for my sweet, dear husband because I'll have to show y'all a picture of this thing. I have never seen a cinnamon bun like this in my life. It was as big as my head, and it had cream cheese on it, and then it was drizzled with fresh caramel. If y'all have not been to the Blue Rooster in downtown Lawrenceville, you're missing out.
I have not gone, and this sounds like a good little team trip that we need to take.
It's amazing.
I think we might have to wait till after this no sugar challenge is over for those that are participating. Sounds like it's just
I'll
Maitland.
jump back on the bus. This was all for work.
Okay. um, so we love answering your questions and comments. So thank you for leaving those for us. We have so much fun. So speaking of comments, Ashley, one of the things, we do these lives, we make these videos and try to educate people. And sometimes we get some negative comments back on our
We do.
videos.
Yeah.
And we recently got a comment that, we just feel the need that we need to address. And so this comment, it's really small on my screen, so I'm gonna have to like get up on the camera. I need some glasses. We had a video a couple of weeks ago, and we have a lovely viewer that made the comment of, so we were making the video on is the Georgia housing market shifting? What are we seeing in home prices? And this lovely, I'm assuming it's a lady, left a comment saying, I understand that you guys have to make money, but saying this is a good time to buy a house is just horrible advice for most people. You also continue to say that prices are not going down, which is a straight lie. Straight lie. Please look at the median sold house. Not sure if you're both straight dishonest or just clueless. Ashley, which one are you?
I don't
Dishonest
know.
or clueless?
I don't know because, when I'm looking at the stats, which she told me to do, I'm just not seeing what she's seeing. Are you?
No, I'm definitely not. So let's look at the stats, because obviously, y'all, whenever we are sharing this information from you, we're not making this up. We are only relying on data that we are giving this information. And, Ashley and I, we would love if we had the ability to say, hey, buy a house. And you're going to be like, yes, I'm buying a house. These girls told me to buy a house. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. Obviously, we are working with people that have already made the decision that they want to buy a house. And it's our job to give you the very best information so that you can put all these puzzle pieces together and make the best decision that's for you and your family. So she told us to look at the median sales price, and that is exactly what we're going to do. So we're looking at stats directly from our MLS system, and this is pulling all of the greater Atlanta area. You can see that we're looking at the greater Atlanta area. And so let's look at each price point range. So if we look at houses that are priced $200,000 or less, we have it down here to the median sales price. And we look over here, and for August and July, that is flat at 170. That's the median sales price and that price point. Now, you and I both know it is impossible to find something under $200,000.
It is.
So that's that price point. Now let's look at between 200 and 350. This is also a very, very challenging price point. If we look in August of 2022, the median sales price was 290. If we look at the previous month, that was 289. So it increased by $900. It increased from the previous month of 286,000. So that graph is going up, right? Right.
Yep.
It's up. Okay, that's up. And then let's look at 350 to 599. Now, this is the area where we have seen a little bit of a shift in the market. And that's what we've been educating viewers about, is this shift in the market. So all the way up at its peak, the peak of the market back in the spring of this year, May 2022, the median sales price of a home was $443, almost $444,000. Okay, so then, like you would agree, Ashley, we started seeing a shift in the market around the summertime, right?
Yeah. When interest rates started to get questionable, we definitely saw people kind of do a pause to see what is happening.
Yeah. So from May to June, the median sales price changed from 443, almost 444. Let's call it 444. And that went down to 442, almost 443. So a savings of $1,200. And then from June to July, we saw it go from that 442 to 440. And then now we've kind of started to see from July to August that did not change. It was flat.
Right.
So technically, has the median sales price in this price point changed from a peak in May from 444 to August of 440? Yes. But I don't know that I would call that $4,000 difference like a huge shift in the market in terms of like buyers actually realizing that savings. Would you?
I would not. And I think it's important for people to really think about that. We're in a deceleration, not a devaluation. And a lot of times when the media is talking about a devaluation, they're also lumping in, $1 million plus homes, which you and I have talked about. Those are the first, luxury market is the first one to see those numbers drop because it's substantially larger amounts of money. And so are we seeing prices that are different? Yes. But you also have to keep in mind, and this is what I feel like a lot of people are not taking into consideration. If a home is valued right now at $400,000, a year ago, if I had listed that home at $400,000, it would have gone into a multiple offer situation and somebody would have bid that home over what the true value of that home really was. That doesn't change the value of what that home should have been listed at. That means that a buyer wanted that home and saw the value to go over and beyond what that appraised value should be. So if a year ago that home would have sold for 500 and today it's going to sell for 450, does that mean that the actual true appraised value of that home is different? No, it means that a year ago we were in a totally different market where it was a crazed market. Interest rates were significantly lower and people were just getting out to get everything that they could. So I think you really have to look at those, those things as well, because those really play into it.
Yeah. So when we go back and look at, so from the peak of the market in that price point between 350 and 600, this year that average, that median sales price was 444. If we go back to a year ago, it was 435. So a $10,000 increase in median sales price point overall. And again, this is like taking an average of everything that sold between 350 and 600. That's kind of a broad range.
Right.
But if we go back from May to, let's do May of 2020, that was 425. So you see like the big swing there between 1 year to the next year. It's a $10,000 increase and then $10,000 the next year. So you mentioned that in the luxury market that we are seeing more of a shift. And so when we look at home prices $600,000 or more, this is where we are seeing the biggest shift. So
Right.
a lot of times whenever you're seeing these headlines and you're seeing, the market is crashing and prices are falling, just like you said, they are taking the median of a wide range of prices. But if
Right.
you go and you segregate it, just like we're doing right now, you start to see where this is really showing up in home prices. So if
Right.
you're in the market for a home price that's $600,000 or more, this is where we've seen the biggest shift in the market. At a peak this year in April of 2022, the median sales price was 780. And you can see that changed from 780 to 775, 773. We got 767 to 766.
Yeah.
But even in this like just shifting market that we've seen in the past couple of months, we're talking about going from 773 to 766. That's not that great of a savings,
Right.
especially whenever you couple that in with the rising interest rates that we've seen. Of course, we're going to have a change in the market. And so if you're just watching or just zooming in or not zooming in, you're watching us on YouTube. We were responding to this comment that a viewer left for us on one of our videos, just asking us if we were straight delusional or if we were lying to our viewers about the median sales price and what we're seeing in the Atlanta market. And I think it's also important, Ashley, that we know that a lot of times, viewers, people are seeing these headlines that are taking in the national home prices.
Right.
And nationally, yes, median home prices have fallen. That is very, very true. But it's always important to get that local information, which is what
Right.
we are providing you. We're providing you data from this local market, the metro Atlanta area that we serve.
I don't know if you saw that. Oh God, what am I trying to say? Slide. Keeping current matters is something that like I live and breathe by. Like I check it every day because I feel like, they pull information from so many different resources. And so that way we're getting the most clear guidance on that. And they were showing kind of the red spots and the blue spots for where prices have dropped significantly and where we are definitely getting a little bit of a correction, but we're not seeing prices plummet. And thankfully, the Southeast was kind of in that blue spot where everything has, stabilized, but we're not seeing a huge like loss. And I think a lot of people, because 2008 is still fresh on so many people's mind, and I have to be honest, I question it. I was a realtor in 2008. It was painful. I
Yeah,
worked for a builder that then went under, and so I understand people's thoughts and questions. And anytime we're in a volatile market where interest rates are literally changing daily and there's things going on around the world that make us question, I get it. One of my favorite people to talk to is one of our clients, Anthony. He's on here sometimes. And I have built a relationship with Anthony. He's thinking about selling and moving down the road, but he and I talk on a regular basis now because he knows the market so well. He will call and we will just go back and forth about what he's seeing, what I'm seeing. And I love those conversations. Someone that has dove in and done their research and knows what they're talking about and can really have an educated conversation with us. So, with that viewer that left that comment, no hard feelings on our end. I truly would love to have a conversation. Call and talk to us about what you're seeing and, tell us where you're coming from and we can share with you in return.
definitely. We have another question from a viewer. He said that he moved. I'm assuming I have no idea. He moved. Hi. Sorry. He. Why is it a he? In my mind, it's a he. They moved to Savannah almost 3 weeks ago, interested in buying in 6 months. Any recommendation? Yes, we definitely have. We have a great agent partner down in Savannah that knows the area like the back of their hand. And so we would love the opportunity to connect you with them. So our contact information is right below. Our video should be down here. We would love to hear from you so that we can connect you with them and really make sure that you're served really, really well. They can go ahead and prepare you in 6 months. And maybe if you have the ability to buy sooner than that, that might be something to have a consideration to think about too, since interest rates are rising. And there might be some cost savings that you can realize if you do this now versus later. So thank you so much for leaving that. And we'd love to help you get connected with a great agent in Savannah. Nate, that is a he. How's the market on a no mortgage contingency straight cash buy?
So it is honestly pretty good. I think that anytime you don't have a contingency, we have a little bit more negotiation room. Thankfully, recently we have been able to get a lot of those contingencies back in place. I know you and I were talking about this on our live last week. But most people that are buying a home need to sell their current home to get the equity from that property in order to put it on the next property. And so anytime that you're in a situation where you don't have to do that and you have the cash to go ahead and buy that home, that's less risk to the seller, because you're not having to go through the loan process and make sure that you're qualified. And so that just gives the seller a little bit more peace of mind. So you do have a little bit more wiggle room to be able to negotiate on that, Nate.
I would also say 6 months ago, you being a cash buyer,
Right.
there
Didn't
were
matter.
3 other cash buyers on that same
Right.
property, and it was just who had the most cash.
Yeah.
What we're seeing now is less cash buyers in the marketplace. So just like Ashley said, yes, you're going to have more negotiation ability, and you may even be able to save and negotiate a little bit more off of that house because you are a for sure guaranteed thing, and you're giving that seller peace of mind, especially if they need to sell their house to go to that next house.
Yeah.
Anthony joined the chat. He said,
Here's my
next
Anthony.
time we have to talk about eating those honey buns
Yes, those cinnamon buns, but it has to be after. Oh yeah, after the sugar's
after the
melted,
sugar.
of course.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. Alex gave us a little bit more information. 350 to 450 is his range. He's seen his list grow. He said that in a previous comment that more houses are coming on the market in his price range, or he's seeing some price adjustments where
Yes.
houses are now showing up there, and that houses with pools have fallen within his budget now. He's starting to see some pools show up in that 350 to 450 range.
Yeah. No, and that's exciting. I mean, I know the last 2 years has been a whirlwind for a lot of people, but it has not been easy on the real estate, as a realtor, because we were seeing a lot of first time home buyers that were just being completely priced out of the market. And it is not fun to go through that with somebody, to constantly watch them be beat out by other people that have cash and are able to go, wildly over what the home is appraised value at. And so as we're seeing things kind of stabilize, watching people be able to get back into the market and feel kind of like, it sounds like Alex is excited, like he's rejuvenated, and that's what's exciting about the market coming back to a stable position.
Yes, yes, we are so excited. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on this live. It has been so much fun. Thank you for leaving your questions, and we're happy to help you. Again, if we have a question that you did not answer, or if you want to connect with us off of this video, we would love to hear from you. Our contact information is right below this video. And of course, we help people move from all over. And just like our other viewer made a comment, he said that he was moving to Savannah, or just recently relocated to Savannah, and we have really great agents that we can connect you with all across the United States. So we would love to do that. So thank you so much. We are here every single week, bringing you a live video every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Eastern time. And then of course we have our other videos that land every single Sunday. And we look forward to seeing you on the live stream next week.
See you guys.
Bye.